Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show, Wednesday edition rather, where we focus on governance and policy as well as politics. And today we have a program lined up for you just as usual. And to just get started, we have to get flexing our muscles, and we do that with the morning boost. Let's get straight into the morning boost, and we'll be back with a health corner on the other side.
Hello guys, it's another great edition. So today I'm going to take you in cardio here at Chozi Fitness in Kablonga in conjunction with the Camnet TV. Let's go, let's do cardio together. We go. Okay, get ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're skipping for a minute. Let's go. Let's go. For a minute, keep going. Two, 1, and cut. From here we punch. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. 20 seconds. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Next one, we're stepping up. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Forty seconds. Thirty seconds. Let's go. $20. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed. Next time.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and we were just looking at our first segment, that is the morning booster, where we get to exercise early in the morning. The message is the same. We need to keep fit, and we can only do that if we exercise regularly to just ensure that we stay away from non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, heart diseases, and others. So we need to make sure that we do such drills, especially in the morning, because they're important in keeping us fit and healthy. Now, talking about health issues, we also go to our next segment, that is the Health Corner, where Dr. Mufaya helps us understand various issues pertaining to our health. So keep it on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Let's keep the conversations going.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the breakfast show. And today we are on the Health Corner. We're going to be talking about stroke. Yesterday we talked about what is stroke, and we say that a stroke is a brain injury that occurs when there's a blockage in the blood vessels in the brain, or there's a bleed in the blood vessels in the brain that causes a reduction in oxygen levels in the brain, and also blood supply generally to areas of the brain. So today we'll talk about exactly what causes someone to have a stroke, and also the risk factors that predispose someone to have a stroke. So like we have already mentioned, a stroke comes about when there is a blockage in the brain blood vessels, and also if there is a bleed in the brain, that causes a stroke. So what are some of the risk factors that somebody predispose someone to have a stroke? So one of them is diabetes. So people who have diabetes are prone to have stroke because of the high blood sugar levels that can lead to so many other complications in the body that can predispose them to have hypertension, predispose them to have high cholesterol. So people who have diabetes need to be able to check their cholesterol levels, their blood pressure levels. The other thing is your BP, of course. Hypertension is a risk factor for having stroke. So hypertension will not only cause a blockage in the brain, it can also cause you to have a bleed in the brain. If you have high blood pressure and your pressure or your blood pressure increases to become very high, it can cause you to have a stroke because of the high blood pressure that is there in the blood vessels. So it can cause a bleed in the brain, and it can cause hemorrhagic stroke. The other risk factor is high cholesterol, like I have already mentioned. If you have high cholesterol, especially the bad cholesterol, which is known as the LDL cholesterol, this cholesterol can cause clots, or not really clots, but it can cause clumps that can cause blockages in the blood vessels, in the brain especially, and this can lead to having an ischemic stroke. The other thing that can predispose someone to have a stroke is age. So people who are older in age are more likely to also have stroke, and also males are more likely to have stroke than females. However, when a stroke attacks, when a female gets a stroke, they are more likely to die from the stroke than males. So the other risk factors include inactivity. If you do not exercise, you are always not exercising and not being active, you predispose yourself to having stroke. The other risk factors include not eating healthy foods, and also not or taking too much alcohol and smoking tobacco. So alcohol is not good for our health. Even smoking is not good for our health as well. So if we engage in alcohol and tobacco smoking, then we are increasing our chances of having so many lifestyle diseases, and stroke is one of them. So these are some of the risk factors that predispose someone to have a stroke. So today we are learning that There are some causes of stroke that can, some risk factors that can predispose someone to have stroke, and these include having diabetes, having hypertension, and having high cholesterol can predispose you to have stroke. Also, we say that not exercising, not eating healthy, and smoking, tobacco, and drinking alcohol can also increase your chances of having a stroke.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and Madam, good morning.
Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. How are you? Good morning to the viewers. Welcome to Eat. Thank you so much. We've done 2 segments, and I'm not going to talk about that on camera. Hopefully, you've learned 1 or 2 things. Remember, all these segments are yours, and you are privileged to actually comment on any of those and suggest how best we can go about these segments, especially the health corner. You can suggest to us what you want the doctors to talk about. As always, we always remind you of this. Let's look at how the kwacha is faring against the major convertibles. Patrick, it's been gaining, it's been growing. It's not. Is it a teenager? It's above. Huh?
Yeah.
It's above 18 actually.
It's going to hold out.
Above 18. It can do a lot of things.
Yeah. Let's look at it. $1 is buying at 19 kwacha 04 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 41 ngwe. The euro is buying at 20 kwacha 35 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 75 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 08 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe. The Greater British Pound is buying at 22 kwacha 77 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 22 ngwe. That's those are your money market. As you can see, the kwacha has been on a depreciation trajectory, and the central bank has been putting in place some modalities to just stabilize the local currency. We are preview to the fact that the monetary policy rate was equally revised. This is in order to cushion the prevailing economic situation in the country. However, this kwacha depreciation is not good for business, and it means that those who are into cross-border business have been highly affected by this depreciation of the kwacha, because transacting against the US dollar, which is the major currency that we trade with as Zambians, has become difficult. So it means that you have to partner with a lot of kwachas in order for you to access things in dollars. So that is how the kwacha has been performing. It has been depreciating. I remember at the time it was at 15 kwacha, a lot of excitement. And Sharon was among those who were happy, though she doesn't even save in dollars.
Many of us were excited about it, but anyways, we will see. Well, hopefully it will come back to...
Can it go back to 15?
Maybe 15, but below that, I don't think so.
Below that, but going back to 15 equally will be a daunting task.
It will be a daunting task, yes.
It won't be easy.
No, it won't, because it's at 19.
19, so...
We just hope it doesn't cross over to 20, as it was at 22, 23.
22, 23,
that time.
Yeah.
It was quite an issue for many of us. And,
it was.
Business entities took advantage of the situation and started saying, no, dollar. I mean, everything became expensive because you are aware that Zambia is an importing country. We import most of the things that we have, in food, oil, I mean, a lot of things really we import, and we hope that it doesn't go beyond that. People have already complained that the life is tough. Commodities are high, and then if at all the dollar keeps going high and products keep going high, it will even be worse for the majority Zambians.
Exactly. And the question we're asking today on the Breakfast Show is, has the price of MEALIE meal reduced in your area? Because we understand that government has been putting in place mechanisms to just control the price of this commodity. So it is you, our dear viewers, to give us that feedback on terms of how the staple food is fetching in your various communities. And we can equally comment on some of the stories that we'll be zooming in on the Camnet Breakfast Show to just give us your perspective on various stories. You can give us your analysis on these stories. So we can get interacting on the Breakfast Show. The number is on your screen. And let's get the conversation going on various topical national matters.
Indeed, tell us where you're watching from and tell us what's happening in your localities. You may be shocked, we'll be there having a conversation with you. Our community comes first, and therefore it's important for you to tell us at least what's happening in your localities. How many bags of melamil do you use in a month? Others use 2, others use 3. Others are really shimmer people, Patrick.
Yeah.
While you may take a 5 kg bag of melamil the whole month with your family, others would actually take 25 kgs of melamil in a month. So there's all this situation, but then we want to know and understand how this has affected your family and how many bags probably that you have. I mean, if you don't grow maize, you obviously buy, because I don't think there's any household in Zambia, for Zambians, that doesn't eat that commodity.
Yeah, it's quite an important commodity. Like
you may not be an everyday person, but you still have a kabunga figure.
You're just telling me to say you only manage a 5 kg. But you know, but some families live together like in an extended arrangement. So you discover that a 25 bag of minimum just for a week. So you mean you now buying that 25 kg weekly
4 times
is not
in a
easy,
month.
especially when it is expensive. So now, no wonder people tend to complain. You know, sometimes we see things on a different perspective. Because I'm using a 10 kg and I'm using it for the entire month. I'm not even worried about the price of minimum. Yeah, I'm not even worried about the price of minimum. But others who use the same a 25 kg bag of minimum for 2 weeks, for 1 week. So all those things. And you know, sometimes in emergencies like during funerals, you cannot have a funeral which has no shima. So now you can imagine how many bags of meal you have to part away with to just make sure that you feed everyone. So those tend to be issues that do come, because sometimes when you want to get many, you discover that you are parting away with a lot. Now you tend to now realize, you say, "Ish, I'm spending a lot on meal." So that has been a concern. So now we understand that earlier this week, the Food Reserve Agency, under the directive of the Ministry of Agriculture, has been engaging the millers to just make sure that the price of meal is stabilized in the country. This is by making sure that they offload cheap maize to the millers. This has been a pattern, a trend. But however, I'm also asking a pertinent question. I'm privy to the briefing where the president is on record suggesting that Zambia will never close its borders towards export. Now, what happens if the millers are exporting all of their maize which they are purchasing from farmers or their meal? Now, what happens to the local market? Because you understand that exportation is a lucrative venture in that you get more through exportation, unlike supplying the local market. So those are quite issues that have been raised, and we hope that the government is going to manage this, because the millers, I think they do plan strategically to say this maize we are purchasing from farmers will last us up to this long. Now, what is happening? Now they're saying they don't have maize, and now they're compelling the Food Reserve Agency to offload maize that is usually preserved for strategic use. And
so much strategic, Patrick. You are aware that most of the farmers in Southern Province, Central Province, even Eastern Province, actually, if it's Eastern Province, they've already started receiving relief food, you know, because all their crops were washed away with the floods that they experienced a few weeks ago, you know. So this maize really is indeed strategic. It needs to be given to these people at some point.
Yes, it is strategic, and at the moment it is working for its purpose, strategic purposes. But we need to make sure that millers, when they are getting on the market, they should also buy enough.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be waiting for FRI to buy maize on their behalf. Now, because, you know, it may be like a systematic approach whereby they know that if FRA corrects from these depots and everything, they put it at the center. It's easy for us to go and get from them. You understand? Because FRA has to get it from farmers in far-flung areas.
Exactly.
To just make sure that it is at
I think I was having
shade.
a conversation with one of the people. They said there's an area that has completely been cut off, but there's a lot of maize there. There's a satellite for Food Reserve Agency. But then how to bring that maize to the shore, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You know, it's very difficult at the moment. I don't know why they had to wait all this while until it was deep in the rain season.
Yeah, the rain season.
Because the area is well known. Is well known for being cut off every time it's rain season. So I don't understand why they had to wait. However, this location has a lot of maize that would help a lot of people. And
an interesting aspect is that we have been hit by floods, and they have caused a lot of disasters, and this means that we need a lot of relief food to give to various households or communities. So now the strategic food that the FRA holds on to has to be made use of. Now those are the challenges that we are also facing, and we hope that it will suffice or meet the demand. And let's try to also zoom in some of the stories that have been making the headlines. The story that I have with me is a story where Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Chishimba, PF presidential hopeful rather, Chishimba Kambwili, has accused that the police officers at the force headquarters in Lusaka of planting a snake in his detention cells. The truth of the matter, we don't know about that.
Whether there was a snake or not.
Whether there's a snake or not. But let's get to zoom in that story. And
we also some of the cold stories.
Yes, and that story will play back to back with a story where the Operation Young Vote Executive Director, Mr. Guest Nyenenda, is urging politicians not to dare the police by breaking the law with impunity.
Exactly. Let's look at the stories. And when we come back, we'll comment on them.
After spending a night in police custody for the offence of unlawful assembly, contrary to Section 74, reads together with Section 75 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Chishimba Kambwili has been released on bond and will appear in court soon. Mr. Kambwili was jointly charged with another person identified as Charles Kakula, and it was alleged that the two, whilst acting together with other persons unknown, did unlawfully assemble, causing other persons to reasonably fear for the breach of public peace. And Mr. Kambwili, who spoke shortly after his release, has accused the police officers of planting a snake in his detention cells, adding that he was suspicious of his arrest and wondered why police officers were searching for him like a criminal.
When I said that this detention is suspicious, because I didn't understand why they were looking for me like a common criminal. Little did I know that they had planted a snake. But thank God that we now know that when you go to the Akainde hostel, first and foremost, you must look for a snake. Thank you very much. That's all I can say.
Meanwhile, police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale, when contacted for a comment over the matter, has denied any snake being planted in the detention cells of Mr. Kambwili, further aiding politicians to be truthful.
No, those don't know where he's getting that from. Who can plant a snake? Can you lift a snake and plant it where? You can't even comment on that.
For now, it is certain that Dr. Kambwili will spend a night at his home while he awaits court appearance on the matter. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
So for us, the police are within the law. First of all, to arrest one who has abrogated the law by holding an illegal assembly, but also within the law by not giving bond within 48 hours. If they go beyond 48 hours, then the police would be wrong, and they must also be taken to account for that wrong way of implementing the law. So we must just be clear with ourselves that the law is law. And yes, we know that the Public Order Act currently is bad law. because it stifles people's expressions, it inhibits or shrinks the space, the civic space. But that is the law that we currently have. And this is why, as citizens together, we were pushing that the public gatherings bill should not be a bill to repeal the Public Order Act. And right now, it's still in the form of the bill. It's not even before Parliament. So Parliament has to be tabled before Parliament. Parliament has to debate it, and they enact it into law. And we pray that it is expeditiously, it is quickly enacted into law.
A Lusaka businessman, Harry Findlay, has pleaded with the court to grant his application to order for the release of his passport to facilitate for his travel abroad for medical treatment. The accused, who is former President Edgar Lungu's associate, made his application Tuesday through his lawyers when he appeared before Lusaka Magistrate Sylvia Munya in an alleged criminal case where he is accused of holding more than one passport and being in possession of endorsement of forged immigration stamps. Mr. Finder's lawyer submitted this morning that the passport can either be released on a temporal or permanent basis because his heart needs to undergo surgery aimed at restoring circulation of blood. According to his lawyer's further submission, he is unwell and currently placed on 4 days bed rest, but still cannot rest out of respect and high regards to the court and its procedures. In response to the defense application, and despite sympathizing with them, the state urged the court to dismiss the application on ground that the said passport, which is an exhibit in this matter, has not yet been placed before court. In this case, the state accuses Mr. Findlay of acquiring a Zambian passport on the 3rd of October 2022, purporting to have lost the one he had earlier obtained. He is also accused of being found in possession of endorsement of forged immigration stamps for Mwami Immigration Border Control in his passport, purporting that it was officially endorsed when in fact not. The court says it will deliver its ruling on the 14th of February 2023. Meanwhile, in another court case, Ndozo Lodge's proprietor Clint Sichamba requested the Economic Financial Crimes Court to adjourn his case on ground that he had developed seizure and currently at the University Teaching Hospital for review. The application was made through his lawyers. This is in relation to a matter where Mr. Sichamba, his wife Idora Nambela and son David are facing corruption charges involving over 781 million kwacha and more than 10 million United States dollars. The trio were this morning expected to take fresh plea. The matter comes up on the 15th of February 2023. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it. Those are some of the stories that were making the headlines in the Camnet main news as of last evening. Quite interesting stories there. Another story that makes me, that baffles me, is the story of the snake.
The snake. The snake. I've been asking questions throughout from the time I saw that. I think I told you to say, okay, but can't wait that, you know, this guy, it was a Chimbakambwili person, and obviously still is, posted on his status to say, no, a snake has been killed in Chimbakambwili. So I kept wondering, like, okay, where did the snake come from? How come? How didn't the police see the snake? You know, and the picture that was being shown for that same snake was quite huge, you know. Like, you know, a snake struggles to move on the floor. It moves quicker on the snake because on the grass because it just slides. But then on the floor, it's very difficult for it to navigate its way to wherever it's going. How come and how did it happen that that snake found itself in the cells? However, Prudence Shota did the story and made an effort to call Deputy Public Relations Officer for the police, Mr. Danny Mwale, who said there was nothing like that.
Yeah, and she did well to just confirm with the police, you know. But the police are saying there was nothing like a snake.
Let's pick this call, Patrick. Maybe they want to tell us where the snake came from. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my lady.
How are you?
Very fine. How are you?
The voice of Monali.
The voice of Monali. Do you know where the snake came from?
He's a comedian, that guy. So I think for me, first and foremost, I would love to state that I want to start with the items do the Union Friday.
Yes.
Every year around this is the time when the production of milk reaches what they think. So what before, like for those farmers who want actually planted like very much varieties of maize, they are actually killing their maize as a result. They are even disposing of the previous quantity, harvest. So for me, it's not actually the previous one phenomenon. I can let us show you that even without the Media Association of Ghana putting some other mechanism, the new result automatically reduce itself. I'm talking as what as a farmer, not somebody who's actually such as what agro more project example. Okay. So the issue of unit bills, that way allows you to reduce itself automatically back to those who don't want actually to do a little bit of farming in their backyard. Coming to the issue of the snake, what I've always been getting that society, we are lacking serious opposition. Imagine such a case to lead the party. One thing is actually dreaming that will actually bounce back. I think we just bounce back to leader, what of patriotic crime. Who prays what the snake for what? Who is coming in the first place? This is not the political comedian, that one. That is gas is not one point. And they shouldn't receive that sort of exam that they are put for them to be compliant. But the difference is finally that it's very much that is made for us to put the two people. That is the one they take of it. All that one is they are because what funders, but funding is not the opportunity, that's the business about the vote down. So the police for me, they were asked to ignore that. Someone who abrogates the law is security. So have to be raised. I thought like this, get that is the way to go. Then again, they might understand that this. But not in fact, they were actually advised when you look into what that is in opposition, that can you repeal the Public Order Act? And what happened was the great that the other things really now that they will remain forever. And they must now follow the one they are sick appeal. They must be carrying that in the one they did the order of India and West. So for instance, it's arrogant, like government, not like the rest of them, first what they are of law. Those are the people who didn't make sure that there was no peace what it is India. So probably the other active are taking the product. Is the ability, fearfully myself and enjoy. I thank you.
All right, the voice of Monali there. You too can have your say on this important conversation we're having this morning. Let's get talking, and hearing from you would be very good for us to understand what's happening in the various localities. And Mr. Chinza there says the snake issue really.
Yeah, it's for me personally, even myself as a journalist, usually I just say what you don't see is not accurate.
To borrow the words of former President Edgar Lungu, he was always asking for proof.
Is
that
what you was referring to?
All the time, you say, your ministers are corrupt, your members of parliament are corrupt, your public service workers are corrupt. He would say, where is the proof? So in this case, really, I think we'll also demand for that proof of the snake.
but if you see, Mr. Mari was denying that, and for us, we respect authority.
We respect.
They are also, and it is about you, our dear viewers, getting. Making your own judgment at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we have gotten both sides of the story.
Exactly.
This one claims this,
so and then the snake was planted in his cells.
The police are wondering to say, instead of planting maize this time of the season, they are planting a snake. Interesting conversation.
Why should we plant a snake? Anyways, we want to hear from you. We are discussing the issue of meal prices. Have they reduced? How much do you use in your homes? Mr. Chinza there, our very first caller and reliable caller, said this usually happens around this time every year. It's not a strange phenomenon, but it will be stable by April. So we've got to be really patient. It's not even about the kwacha. It's not even about the inflation. It's not about all those fundamentals that people say increase the food basket. And yesterday, the food basket was released by Just the Hour as usual, our reliable partners, in terms of analyzing the trends and seeing how much money is needed for a family in a month. Let's talk to this caller. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Fine, thank you. Why do you sound very low? It's a new year.
Come again?
Why do you sound very low?
Maybe that's how I will speak, I don't know.
Okay. Your name and where you're calling us from?
All right, tell us your name and where you're calling from, first of all.
I'm calling you from within Osaka, to be specific, in Matero.
All right.
Yeah, concerning the snake.
Yes.
It's really Shumbakamu is a comedian on this one of Dante. The snake really was found in itself. Even Mao San confessed that the issue of the snake is a true story. And he went further to say, he asked the police, and the police confirmed, and they said it's normal. Now, if what can Mao San says, if it wasn't there then, I don't know.
Okay.
This
Interesting.
issue is true. Right? They don't have to take it Shimbakambule sometime like this. Huh? This is true. We need to know why the snake was found there.
All right.
You have to tell us.
Interesting.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
so
perspective.
much.
Various the views
We'll continue
coming.
probing. We will continue probing until
exactly, and
we
people
get
have
the answer.
information, even giving us extra information. So, but the police publications unit, whereas we are opposing that that accusation that there was no snake that was
snake
planted
at all.
and that
No
it was
snake
even
at
not
all.
even necessary for them to respond to such an issue.
And he was urging politicians to be truthful and factual when they are responding to questions from the media. According to him, I think this was just one of those, by the way, things that politicians do. We can simply say he rubbished it. You know, he said it's a non-issue. I can't even comment on that. But Mr. Kamwili insists that there was a snake in his holding cell, and luckily it didn't do anything to him, and he was thanking God for that. And he also didn't comment further. He said, I cannot comment further on this matter. I can only say there was a snake in my holding cell. And the other person also could not comment further, but said there was no snake. So literally, it's a back and forth, but we will continue to probe this issue and understand exactly what happened. For me personally, I don't understand why a snake would be found in a holding cell, navigating through offices or through the
of all cells.
it
had to be.
Anyways,
in where
we will find out. Your opinion, all of you, is really valid, and it's opening up the Pandora box of us wanting to even probe further if indeed the snake was there, or if not, what type of politicians do we have if at all there was no snake, and then they are actually believing their own lies. And if at all there was a snake, how did it find itself there? You know, all those questions need to be answered. You too can have your say on this conversation we are having. The first of it all is that the topic is scrolling on your screens, and we are talking about the MEALIE meal prices and how it has affected you. How many bags do you buy in a month? You're not like Patrick Zoko buys 5 kg or 2.5 kg. Ni Pamela ijaboy. Advanced Pamela. You know, like I usually, sometimes I buy even a 2.5 from these chain stores, like those.
How much is that?
I think it's about 25 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, ni Pamela idea. Advanced. Let's pick this call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling you from Nevada.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, my contribution is over the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, here in Nevada, and the price of medicine, you
200 kwacha.
Yes. And the most, the function that is the thing here, you find some drugs taking many going to Kakumbaleka. When you get to Kakumbaleka, at the tunnel, there's a tunnel there. The tunnel is a lot of drugs which are not to enter in Kakumbaleka. But the other thing is, even the road drugs also getting many to Kakumbaleka. So now, the only one that has to wonder over the minimum, because without another minimum, what I want to reduce the price of food. Because many years, they prepare to get minimum at Malaysia. So leaving the minimum, what happens to that temple?
Do you have...
look at our families. Some families are really 25 cases 1 week. Now, if you look at 205, every week you buy the bag of milk, you give it to your mother. Every after 1 week, it's a bag of 200. Look, 800 or 1,000 a month.
Do you have any idea how much they sell the mealie meal in Kasumbalesa? I think we lost that call.
Yeah,
but anyway,
but quite interesting views. Like we were talking
yes.
earlier, it's about us keeping the borders open now. You keep the borders open, so the mirrors will prefer a higher price. Even you, in logical sense,
more money.
You are selling your suits, and I'm offering a better price.
I had to go there.
I'm offering I'm able to buy them at an exorbitant price. Would you be in a mood to sell them to someone who is giving you less money? It doesn't occur like that. So even in business, it is just logical. So I think for now we need to satisfy the local market. Then the excess is exported. But it's like we are competing. We are doing both at once. So and I think that's where the problem is. And if you see, during that press briefing, I was privy to the information that millers will be able to sell the commodity at should be on the copper belt at 170, and in Lusaka 160. Is it now? But if you look at the prices now, like our previous quarter is indicating, it is at 200. So technically, there is no difference from what government is seeking to address. It is just the same. So now we need to make sure that when these pronouncements are made, we also make follow-ups to ensure that that is also followed and make sure that it is equally implemented. Now, we just break with another story so that we zoom in this story where residents of Mutendele East have expressed a fear for their health due to the brownish water coming from their taps. Those are spoken to by Camnet TV News explain that the water has been in this state for 2 weeks, fearing that the waste may happen in an event that the water is contaminated. So we get to zoom in that story. We'll be back on the other side.
Yes, it is.
Clean and safe drinking water is a vital life support liquid as it mitigates several health hazards. However, the case is different for residents in Mutendere East who have been subjected to suspected dirty water coming out from the tap. The residents have lamented to Camnet News that they have been experiencing this problem for over 2 weeks now and that the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company has not acted on the matter despite being engaged. Kim Bale, one of the affected residents, explains that 2 of her children have diarrhea due to the state of the water. She explains that her children are being chased from school because it is compelling them to buy bottled water that she cannot afford.
Manzi amene aya manzi titapa manzi ya doti 2 weeks yonse yakwana titapa manzi ya doti bana ba diarrhea na isete bakulu mala munyonga so manje solution is tizi vanhu wanda tatumira sogoleri kuti babwere batitandize kukunkhani vana vasikulu vanapishiwa kuti vazigula manzi manje sitiza kwanisa ise makolo kugula manzi kuti yazienda kusikulu vazima.
Despite the outbreak of cholera, the residents have no choice but to use the water, thus calling on authorities to help mitigate the problem.
Ine ninkwanisha 3 days mumala muleka lipafe omulandu wa mensha ya ene ndefiro okuno wa mensha atheni indalama eringi tatukwetesha kuture chita mensha maminilo tatule winisha aba nesu elo indalama nishita tukwete so apo batulolekesheko pa mlandu wa menshi naye asankana amenshi tayali moneka bwino ali green brown kwati misuna nkwati nizigolo amenshi tayali bwino.
Community development activist and Socialist Party member of the National Management Council, Crispin Chinda, who was at the scene, called on the water utility to resolve the problem.
Based on the reports from the community that the water is dirty. So indeed I came here to confirm that we see the water that is coming from the taps. And on the ground here I've really seen that the water that is coming from there is not as clean as it's supposed to be. So my appeal to government is that they need to respond to what the people are saying in our community. We are elected to save our people. So I'm expecting that obviously the council, the water storage, and everyone that is concerned.
Meanwhile, efforts to get a comment from Lusaka Sanitation Company proved futile by broadcast time as his phone went unanswered. Sampa Mulenda reporting for Camnet TV.
All right, that is one of the stories that we ran yesterday from Mutendere East, where the water is seemingly looking brownish. That one which we captured there looks a bit clear. But Patrick, I think I saw a clip where the water was literally brown, you know, and water has to be clear. I think that's what we've been accustomed to. I'm not sure, because when we think there's this different color of water, it's dirty, it's contaminated. You know, we tend to think in those lines. But it's not always the case that when the water is a little bit brownish, orangish, copper or something like that, it's contaminated. Because the residents there were saying, no, maybe cholera and stuff. I think we also need to understand what causes cholera, where cholera breeds, where all these diseases breed. So, concerns are valid. Concerns are valid. Patrick, of course, nobody would want to take water that looks like tea or coffee, you know. Why would you do that?
Like you were saying, we have been accustomed to see clear water, but we are privy to the fact that sometimes water may not be clear, but it is treated. So sometimes it is because probably, you know, this time around, to just give you a little bit of background, this time around when the utility firm, the water is coming into the river, and also it comes in brownish. It is not settled. So to make it clear, sometimes the entire processes may not be able to make it clear. So also that may tend to make the water look brownish. Sometimes some of the chemicals, they would make the water look bluish. And you know, there were some stories we were covering, but that did not mean that the water was
dirty. Let's speak for score. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Bernard Mvula, calling you from Camnet.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mvula. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, first and foremost, I would like to make a brief contribution on the issue of MEALIE.
Yes, go ahead.
You know, as Zambia, I think we know full well that during this particular season, was the problem of prices going high of this commodity. Therefore, we must always be braced for such a season. However, I'm happy that the Honorable Minister Spokamulena at some point was making a statement that I said that working on modernity, so this thing is stopped. For example, we have seen the opening of the mini plant in Central Province and also in Southern Province under the Zambia National Service. And if it can be done in all provincial centers, I think the prices can be well regulated. Secondly, let me quickly jump to the issue of the snake. In Camnet, we can plant the snake. Like a note, you know what is it? But then, my concern really is on how we are using these laws. It is very wrong for politicians to dare the police or to do things against the law. However, we expect also the police to act in a very reasonable manner. For example, depending on the nature of the meeting, one can just be cautioned and people respect, and that is all. Than creating unnecessary tension in the country and unnecessary, it will bring division at the end of the day. Police must remember that they are here for all Zambians, and they should remember that they have served governments before,
and there's no need for them to be either biased or harsh to any other leader, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. People are saying nature should never be president. It is president today. So please, let the police also try to operate in a manner reasonable without applying unnecessary force to avoid all these issues that are dividing our nation. We love our peace, we love our nation. Thank you and have a good morning.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning to you too, and good morning to the viewers out there. Don't just sit on your couch. Let's have a conversation.
Interesting views coming from Chadiza. I pick up some few things. You know, it is not necessary to, especially those for politicians. You know, politicians seek attention. You know that.
Yes.
For instance, you just like you said, we disperse the group. Say no, this meeting cannot take place. I think they did do that. The meeting is cancelled. Then they just caution say no, don't do that
next time.
But then
again, when you do that next time, they will do it. They'll keep on doing it.
But you are better off than bringing unnecessary attention, because you see the unnecessary attention.
Yeah.
The unnecessary attention that we talk about us in the media sector, stories we have been covering is that we have political victimization.
Yeah.
We have there is a snake. Do you think the story of a snake would have emerged if these people just want to say no? You know what? Let's not cause the breach of the peace in the country.
The snake actually is even an unnecessary.
So the issue of the snake. Do you know why it comes in? My simple analysis would be that it's because government intends to assassinate someone, and they would silence someone. You understand? So that when a snake probably bites someone, they are unable to compete in the political fraternity. You understand? Are you understanding the perspective?
Even when probably that person is neither here nor there.
Yes. So all those things, but that's unnecessary. And like our previous caller did say, so it is just sometimes how we handle this issue.
Yeah.
Even as politicians, also we don't have to dare the police.
No.
This just if we coordinate, you know, like at the end of the day, we need our peace. You know, we need our peace. That's what we treasure the most as Zambians, and we just have to avoid anything that bring us into tension. Or in conflict with the law. And there was a piece of advice that was given that the Public Order Act is still in force. Not until the public's gathering bill is enacted into law, where we can have a change in terms of the approach, in terms of the issues pertaining to assembly. But for now, if you're conducting an unlawful procession, Madam Karimbola, they will still use it against you, you understand?
It's still the Public Order Act that was there during the previous administration. That's been there. Obviously, it's on the table for review. But then before that is concluded,
yes,
we're still using the Public Order Act, and we need to abide by it. Let's not get into conflict with one another simply because we feel we need to just do away with it all of a sudden. You know, we feel it has advanced in terms of revising here and there. We need to wait until a signature is appended on that, so that of course it's law now.
Yeah, maybe we give our viewers just a recap of the story that they have preferred to comment on, where the story of the snake. So we do a recap of that story.
I'm just happy that all the viewers really are commenting on both.
Yes,
they're commenting on both. They're commenting on the military prices and the snake issue, the famous snake issue. Let's pick the score, and thereafter we can zoom in the same story. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. How are you too?
Good, thanks. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is JB. Yeah, I'm just calling you from Kitwe.
Brilliant. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. I just want to talk about the minimum issue. Yeah, in the Papa got the minimum is too high.
What price is it taking?
One of the reasons I've made is that just want to appeal to the government to look into this very, very seriously. But the other challenge I have is that looking at the fuel, prices increase, I don't see how the minimum is going to come down. Okay, because the issue of fuel. Even if they have offloaded the main from the Food Reserve Agency to the millers, but looking at the issue of fuel, I don't see how the minimum is going to come down. So there is need for the government to look at this very, very seriously. And moreover, even as we are looking at this issue, the farming season this year has been very, very poor in terms of fertilizer distribution. And I'm sure even as we approach maybe March, April, okay, things are going to be very, very expensive, especially in there. Now, looking at the issue of the snake, in the sense concerning of the PK, you see, like one scholar said from Mr. Progress, you see, the police should start operating professionally. For example, the case in which Dr. Sik has been involved in is something which they should have handled in Lusaka. Why should you ask suspect or take a suspect to a far-fetched area which is in the bush, okay? And instead of just dealing with that issue within Lusaka, but the police decide to take the suspect to a remote part of the country. You see, this raises a lot of suspicion. Okay, these are politicians that you can't go out, issues of poisoning, you can't go out issues of trying to, frustrate or trying to intimidate the politician, especially the opposition. That's why I say police should start operating, professionally and look at these issues very critically. There's no need to create a storm in a cup of tea. These are issues they can just talk about, and Dr. Chimbakam is a leader. You expect him to have people at his home. You expect people to come and see him at home and present maybe whatever challenges they're going through. You see, so it's not just a common person. He's a leader in the opposition. That's what I would say. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your comments there.
Representing there, you too can have your say on the conversation we are having this morning. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. Your views are valid. When you speak from this platform, like I always say, it goes straight to the ears of the authority. You never know what your contribution may do. And Kitwe there, Chingola, they actually saying the prices of mealie meal are relatively very high.
Still the same.
For Chingola, they're about 200 kwacha, and there's still smuggling into Kasumbalesa there because the prices are a little bit higher. So we want to see tight security there. Obviously, the Zambia National Service, they are there, he mentioned, but maybe the security is not as tight as it should be. And they're calling on that because there's no way you can be sending things out of the country when you don't have. It was the same situation with the fuel thing, where you were being load shedded for like 12 hours, but you were exporting the commodity. It was the same conversation that we're having. So if at all we have mealie meal shortage in the country, because if we have it in abundance, prices would be minimal. But the fact that the prices are high, meaning we don't have the commodity as much as we are supposed to have.
Yes.
So why should we continue to export this commodity? Why should we continue to smuggle it, into another country? Of course, it's good for those that are in business, but for the majority that are consumers, it becomes an issue. We are having this conversation with you. Also, as a by the way, the snake that was found in Dr. Chimbakamwili's holding cells. Let's look at one of the stories, Patrick, that we had yesterday.
Yeah, the story of the snake has been trending and topical, just like the issue of mealie meal. People are giving us their perspective on how much they're buying in their respective constituencies. And we are seeing that there has been actually minimal change or no change at all in some localities, despite the Food Reserve Agency making an intervention there by flooding cheaper maize to millers. It seems that the problem is far from being resolved. This is a problem that the government has been urged to pay attention to, because considering that mealie meal is a staple food for the country. So let's also zoom in one of the stories where a former Kabushi member of parliament, Botman Lusambo, was told the European Union that President Hakainde Hichilema's led administration is propagating a systematic crackdown of political freedoms for the opposition in the country. Speaking shortly after he met the European Union ambassador at his office in Lusaka Tuesday, Mr. Lusambo said that he discussed with the European Union important matters that border on human rights, abuse, democracy, the rule of law, and respecting the constitution in the country. So let's get to zoom in that story, and we'll be back on the other side.
Of course.
This morning we had a fruitful interaction with the head of delegation for EU here at his office, where we discussed so many issues ranging from human rights abuse, also democracy, the rule of law, and the respecting of the constitution of our country, Zambia. We have discussed a lot of issues, and we are happy that the head of delegation of EU, he has promised us that he will table these issues. So for us as a country, and for us as opposition leaders, we want the EU to take keen interest in what is happening in our country.
For now, Bowman Lusambo, the former Kabushi area member of parliament, will have to wait until the 23rd of March for the court's ruling on whether he shall be put on his defense or be acquitted in a matter he has been accused of interfering with state witnesses. The state closed its case Tuesday after the defense team concluded cross-examining their last witness, an investigations officer from the Anti-Corruption Commission. In this case, the former lawmaker has been charged with 3 counts of attempting to interfere with witnesses, allegations which he has denied. Earlier, during cross-examination, Mulenga informed the court that he was not aware of the relationship that Mr. Lusambo shared with one of the said state witnesses. In the last court session, the witness had informed the court that on the 7th of April 2022, the accused, Mr. Lusambo, endeavored to prevent witnesses from testifying in a case which is jointly charged with his wife, Nancy Manasseh, before a different court, and they are facing allegations of possessing of property suspected of being proceeds of crime. But in continued cross-examination this morning, the witness said he was not aware of the long-standing relationship that Mr. Lusambo had with the said state witness, nor did he bother to find out. Allegations in the first to the third count alleges that Mr. Lusambo, on the 1st of February and the 30th of April 2022, prevented Kapula Chalusa, Ernest Sumani, and Mundia Mata to give evidence as witnesses before a court of law. The matter stands adjourned to the 23rd of March 2023 for a ruling on case or no case to answer. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
After spending a night in police custody for the offense of unlawful assembly, contrary to Section 74, reads together with Section 75 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Chishimba Kambwili has been released on bond and will appear in court soon. Mr. Kambwili was jointly charged with another person identified as Charles Kakula, and it was alleged that the two, whilst acting together with other persons unknown, did unlawfully assemble, causing other persons to reasonably fear for the breach of public peace. And Mr. Kambwili, who spoke shortly after his release, has accused the police officers of planting a snake in his detention cells, adding that he was suspicious of his arrest and wondered why police officers were searching for him like a criminal.
When I said that this detention is suspicious, because I didn't understand why they were looking for me like a common criminal. Due to deny know that they had planted a snake. But thank God that we now know that when you go to the Akainde hostel, first and foremost, you must look for a snake. Thank you very much. That's all I can say.
Meanwhile, police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale, when contacted for a comment over the matter, has denied any snake being planted in the detention cells of Mr. Kambwili, further aiding politicians to be truthful.
No, those don't know where he's getting that from. Who can plant a snake? Can you lift a snake and plant it where? You can't even comment on that.
For now, it is certain that Dr. Kambwili will spend a night at his home while he awaits court appearance on the matter. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it. Quite interesting stories there. And we were just making a repeat of that story that has been trending. And,
from the songbird.
Yeah,
that was what was
yeah,
running in
from
your
the
mind.
songbird, you know, as usual.
From the songbird.
Yeah, our songbird doing what she knows best, and that's seeing that chorus in the stories. And looking at that story, quite a number of views have come in. Others are saying the police must be professional in that it is not necessary to cause unnecessary tension, in that there is no need to, for instance, you charge someone from Lusaka, you take them to a remote area. Others are also advising politicians to just make sure that they operate within the confines of the law. Others are suggesting that there's need to just reach an agreement to ensure that every possession, every activity that is undertaken, there is a mutual understanding between the law enforcers and those that intend to undertake possessions, so that peace prevails in the country. At the end of the day, the right to assembly is provided for in the Zambian constitution.
Indeed.
And we understand that holding a peaceful protest is also a human right issue, and Zambia supports that. And President Hakainde Hichilema's administration is keen to strengthen Zambia's democracy, according to various pronouncements that the president has made on various platforms. He does not miss a word in terms of ensuring that he proclaims the rule of law and ensure that there is political freedom, in much as there is also, as they work on steering social and economic development. So we have to make sure that there's that balance. You are through to the station.
Hello, good morning.
Bueno, bwanje.
Muto mirakuti. Solwezi, ni mwandani zina? Elias Daka. Okay. Tuze ngomba meme mfuno kamba. Ulipazi ngati unga? Zingati? 210, 25 kg.
Yeah.
$360. Kuti uko exactly?
Kuboda.
Kuboda. I see.
Zikomo no tizakabwera tikagare kona ise tikatenge ko news ya kusolwezi. Interesting views there from Solwezi. He's given us, I think,
he's given us the figures.
The figures that
it's
fetching at
360.
At the 360,
and the normal price for them is 210. That's quite high.
So you can imagine, even you, Sharon, can be a businesswoman there. You just buy the 210 and go and say what 360.
That's exactly what's running in my mind.
You called
me a small tamanga last time.
Exactly, you are a junior tamanga. So now, as long as we're not addressing these issues, everyone else has to see an opportunity. This is a life of survival.
Exactly.
You have to be doing something. There is no tantamen under this administration. So
there's no kasamfit.
There's no kasamfit. So you need. So the president is encouraging people to be innovative, to be entrepreneurs. So people are just using the initiative. Okay, you are selling it.
I will sell you. I'm thinking as an entrepreneur.
Sell me to a good destination. I'll be grateful. But if you look at this, there's a business opportunity. Even if the price is fetching at 250, even if it's fetching at 250, there's a business opportunity for you to making an abnormal profit.
Yes.
You know, because, you know, under normal circumstances, you know that actually MEAs should be, here the profits for retailers, it's just about 10 kwacha or 15 kwacha for retailers. So you can imagine where you get this meal and you're destined to outside the country and you'll be able to get away with
360. You're buying it here at 170 because that's the price that they say they will be selling on, like 360, 370, somewhere there.
Somewhere there, yes.
Two. I mean 160, 170, not two. Pardon me there. So if you get that bag of MEALIE meal at 170 kwacha and then you go and sell it at 360, that's like 190 kwacha profit, something
now,
like that.
If you have about 1,000 bags.
1,000 bags, that's quite lucrative, Patrick. Let's think outside the box. Thank you, Solwezi, for giving us this tip.
But you are going to cause an artificial shortage.
Thank you. I mean, we're being entrepreneurial. So, yeah, we're thinking outside the box. You too can have your say on this important conversation. We are talking the MEALIE meal prices and how they've affected you as a family or just as a community. How much is a bag of MEALIE meal fetching? We understand that earlier this week, government gave a directive to say MEALIE meal prices should start fetching at a certain amount after the agreement was made with the mailers. They were not so happy, but they had to do it in response to government's call or directive and the demand that is on the ground and the situation pertaining. And we want to know and understand if at all in your various localities the MEALIE meal prices have reduced to at least 170 or 180.
Yes.
The callers, Patrick, that have spoken to us, one of them said 210, the other one 200
the other one,
that's quite high still. Let's pick the score and talk to our caller. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Andrew calling in from Indora.
All right, go ahead.
I think we should have an honest conversation, especially regarding to the issue of our food supply in Zambia. You find that most of the time we give attention to a politically charged discussion between politicians, and it doesn't necessarily benefit us.
Yeah.
The issue of MEALIE meal, let us be honest, let us farm diverse food sources. We can farm yam, cassava, millet, wheat, sorghum. All those are viable food sources which Zambians can exploit. But if someone says, no, I'm a Zambian, then a politician will take it and put it out of context. But look where we are coming from behind. My grandfather grew up on cassava meal. So what's wrong with me eating cassava? Look at our friends in Nigeria. What do they survive on? Yam and rice. Look at our brothers in Tanzania. There is cassava, there is rice, and very minimal meal. So I think on this platform, please bring a nutritionist and agroeconomist and ask them, is it possible we can have these other food sources and Zambians can still have a nutritional value, and we can at least absorb some of these high costs of food? Let's have that conversation instead of the politicians taking away our attention. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Patrick. You and I are nutrition champions.
Yeah, I think
and we understand what he's talking about.
Yeah, we understand very well.
We understand it very well. We understand the nutritional content of what is there. We understand sustainable food, diets.
You mentioned quite good things.
Yes.
Yam. Do you know when you talk about yam?
Yes.
I've done stories about yam, but you know what? Even the same government doesn't pay attention.
It doesn't pay attention to this.
To these.
And during the show, the society, Patrick, last year,
yes,
we even bought fries made of yam. We wanted to just experience that. We wanted to. They actually tasted very good, but we haven't really diversified our taste buds. I think that's what I'm going to say.
So I think it's just a reminder.
We are used to the same mono food that we have. Like if it's shima, it has to be with maize meal. You know, if it's porridge, it has to be with maize meal.
Exactly.
You know, but there are quite a number of things, and really, I posted this on my status the time that the vice president said, let us eat roller meal, you know, if at all breakfast meal is very expensive. I wasn't very sure whether it was the timing that was bad for her to make that, to give that advice to the people, or it was a wrong advice altogether. Yeah. Exactly what he's saying, you know, if people give you an alternative of what you can do, it doesn't really mean that they are making you leave from your comfort zone, or maybe they are downgrading you, or they think you're very poor or demeaning you.
Yeah.
I think these are just options that we need to think about as a people.
So technically in Zambia, or historically, we have been accustomed to think breakfast is good over
It's for the elite.
It's for the elite.
Yes.
But if you understand it very well, breakfast has no nutritional
value.
So now if you look at a roller meal, it has nutritional content. So for me, I usually prefer roller over breakfast.
I'm not sure when last you had that.
Yeah, but I that's what I shifted from breakfast to roller meal.
Was it after the vice president's directive?
No, I discarded. Remember, you and I just said that you and I understand nutrition issues.
Yes.
Yes. So I made the decision ever since we had the lunch at some restaurant in the showgrounds.
The showgrounds, our restaurants.
It is okay for us to prioritize things that of nutrition. You know, sometimes, you know, life we exaggerate it. You understand? You want to go and seek nutrition from buying this baby porridge in ShopRite. That may be expensive. Sorry for but there's actually groundnuts that you can use to just make sure that you have a baby as a healthy meal. So now, it is just about how we enhance this conversation around, because we can substitute maize for cassava. We can substitute maize for yam. Yam can produce mealie meal. It can produce flies. It can produce. It can act as a potato, a sweet potato, just like that.
Like it's
quite a number of supplements that you can get out of yam. But to what extent is the Minister of Agriculture are thinking towards this
diversification agenda?
So we are not actually doing that. That's where the problem is. You understand? So
because what they're doing, Patrick, I think under the Farmer Input Support Program, I'm not sure the name now.
It's the Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program.
I think they only give seed for soybeans, maize, and what other is it? Beans?
Yes.
Yes, I think they only give 3 or 4 options, but then they've given up on cassava, which is one of the most sustainable foods that farmers can grow, because they withstand different climatic conditions, especially in the era of climate change adaptation that we want to get into. We need to think outside the box.
Yes, others have also argued that you know, it does not just make logical sense for us to continue prioritizing maize, considering in the wake of climate change, like you put it. Because if you have cassava, you know, cassava is a drought-resistant crop, just like yam. You know, you don't need
a lot
too
of
much water.
You don't need what.
So,
you know?
So all those things, if you are able to diversify your food production system, then you'll be able to be well off as a country. Look at the Minister of Agriculture. Others have been arguing to say this same ministry, which doesn't even have a farm now, but it is a Ministry of Agriculture.
Agriculture, there's nothing to show for it.
You know, there's no way we should privatize everything. You know, that's why others have suggested to say make use of the Zambia National Service. I understand that ZNS has farms.
Yes.
It has state farms.
Yes, it does.
But how are we making sure that we have bigger farms that are targeted towards the cassava, yam, millet, sorghum, all those things? Then we also make sure that how is the ZNS coming in the aspect of value addition? Then we have, as a country, we'll be able to control the economy on that perspective. There is no way we are going to leave everything to the private sector.
No.
Even as if we are talking about the private sector as being the major drivers of the economy, there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
So if we are able to have, for example, ZNS milling in every province or in every district, what that will do is that it will translate into us managing the price of the commodity better, because we are able to say, okay, how much do we have, or how, you know,
how can we do this?
How can we do
work
this?
Around this?
Then the millers will be compelled to work within what ZNS is working with.
Exactly.
You know, but at the moment, even ZNS itself will be a competitive exporter of mealie meal as well as maize. But now you'd find that FRA was in the market. In fact, that's a question that has been seeking to answer. I didn't get the response previously. has been on the market also exporting, competing with millers, exporting.
millers.
Now, exporting maize. But however, we don't know how much we have realized that through the exportation of maize, we have to get those figures.
Indeed, Patrick, Zambia National Service has a farm now, I think in Kafur, where they are doing, what is it, what do you call fish farming?
Fish farming.
What do you call it? What's the correct word? Aquaculture? Yes. Aquaculture. They have very big ponds, Patrick. Very big, interesting ponds. And the last time I covered them, I think that was last year, there was service chiefs from Zambia National Service, from police, ZAF, and Zambia Army representative. They went there to actually try and benchmark whatever ZNS was doing into their farms. Of course, police noted Mr. Is it Lemi Kajova? He said, we are not so much into agriculture, but we want to start. And also Zambia Air Force also said, okay, we've got a small farm. I think we can replicate this. Equally, the Zambia Army said they would do the same. So if these service chiefs, so they kind of make use of these human beings.
And sure, if we cannot, because we are safe in terms of national security, in terms of war issues. But what about food security?
Actually, one of them even mentioned, I'm not sure if it's the commandant for ZNS, Dr. Mr. Solochi. He said, it's better to have food. There is no peace without food. He said that. There is no peace without food. So let us secure the food basket. And then we're going to be very peaceful as a country. Yes. Because other countries that have gone to war, Patrick, they are fighting for a cassava tuber, because there's so much hunger in that country. They are fighting for that. They are killing each other for that. They'll mark the territory for that.
No one is able to access
he was very much in order by saying that, and he knew what he was talking about. So he said,
your concluding remarks.
We need food first, we need meal first, we need to diversify, and this agenda really needs to be very seriously taken, Patrick. And let's not take advice out of proportion.
There we have it. This is where we have to say goodbye.
Let's have it.
My madam has a lot of airtime. But today we'll call it a day, and see you tomorrow when we come with another interesting episode of the Camnet Breakfast Show, Governance, Policy and Politics. This has been Patrick Soko and Shalon Kanibula.
Indeed.
And see you when we come tomorrow. This has been the Breakfast Show.
Thank you so much for watching. Join us again tomorrow. Good morning.